My name's Elena, and I never imagined my life would take such unexpected turns. I grew up in an ordinary family, nothing extraordinary. After finishing college, I became a primary school teacher. It wasn't glamorous, but I loved working with kids. Everything changed when I met Jason. He was striking, tall, dark hair, eyes you could lose yourself in, and wealthy. Seriously wealthy. His family owned a large corporation, and he was their prized son. We hit it off right away. Jason told me he admired how grounded I was. At the time, I thought it was a nice compliment. Now I see the warning signs. Our intense relationship surprised everyone, especially his parents. From the start, they couldn't stand me. I still remember our first meeting. "So Elena," Jason's mother said, eyeing me like I was something stuck to her shoe. "What does your father do for a living?" "He's a plumber, ma'am," I answered. The look on her face was one of pure disdain, as if I'd said my father was a street sweeper. Jason's father was just as judgmental. "Teaching, huh? Doesn't sound like a high-paying job." But Jason didn't waver. "Mom, Dad, I love Elena. You'll have to deal with it," he said firmly. We went ahead and married despite their objections. I moved into Jason's lavish apartment, feeling like Cinderella. Everything seemed perfect. I got pregnant not long after, and soon we had our son, Michael. Even though Jason's parents didn't like me, they were completely smitten with Michael. Maybe they thought he'd turn out more like them than like me. Life settled into a predictable rhythm. Jason worked as a financial director at his family's company. I continued teaching and managed our home. It wasn't always easy balancing work and taking care of a baby, but I managed. One night, as I was putting Michael to bed, Jason came home late again. "Another late night?" I asked. He loosened his tie with a sigh. "You wouldn't understand, Elena. It's complicated." I tried not to let his words hurt. "Michael missed you. He wanted you to read him a story." Jason let out a tired sigh. "I'm exhausted, Elena. Can't you do it?" As I watched him walk away, a nagging feeling started to creep in. Something was changing between us, but I pushed the thought away. We were happy, right? Or at least, that's what I told myself. As the months went by, the gap between Jason and me widened. He was staying later at work, going out for dinner, and becoming more distant. I kept telling myself it was just work stress. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. The breaking point came when I learned about the company gala. I was folding laundry when my mother-in-law called. "Elena," she said, her voice dripping with disapproval. "I hope you're not planning on wearing that hideous green dress to the gala tonight." I froze. "What gala?" She paused. "The annual company event. Jason must have mentioned it." My stomach dropped. He must have forgotten, I thought. Well, she sniffed. "Maybe it's better you don't come. These events require a certain level of sophistication. It's clear you've never quite grasped the role of a financial director's wife." I hung up mortified. When Jason finally got home, I confronted him. "Why didn't you tell me about the gala?" I demanded. He sighed, taking off his tie. "Look, Elena, these things, just not your scene." "Simple enough for me, right?" I replied, bitterness creeping into my voice. He shrugged. "You said it, not me." That night, as Jason left for the gala in his tux, I sat alone in our huge apartment, feeling more out of place than ever. Weeks went by, and Jason continued to pull away. I threw myself into caring for Michael and my teaching job, trying to ignore the feeling growing inside me. One afternoon, as I was cleaning Jason's home office, I noticed his laptop was open. Curiosity took over, and I began browsing. What I found left me devastated. On the screen were email exchanges between Jason and someone named Vanessa. As I read, shaking, it became clear she was more than just a colleague. "God B, last night was amazing," one message read. "Elena doesn't even compare." "Of course not, darling," Vanessa replied. "She's just a simple teacher. How could she ever satisfy someone like you?" They mocked me mercilessly, calling me a klutz and a fool. I found out that Jason had been showering Vanessa with expensive gifts I'd never received. I don't know how long I sat there, staring at the screen, tears streaming down my face. When I heard Jason's key in the lock, I quickly closed the laptop and wiped my eyes. He walked in, smelling of expensive cologne. "Hey," he said, barely acknowledging me. I swallowed hard. "How was work?" "Fine," he muttered, heading straight for the shower. The next morning, I woke up early, my mind racing. Jason stumbled in around dawn, looking disheveled and reeking of alcohol. I pretended to sleep as he collapsed onto the bed. When he finally woke up, I was ready. I had copied the damning emails to a USB drive, and it was now in my trembling hand. "Jason," I said, my voice steady. "We need to talk." He groaned, rubbing his temples. "What is it, Alana?" "I have a brutal headache." I plugged the USB into our TV and pulled up the emails. "Care to explain this?" Jason's eyes widened as he recognized the emails. To my surprise, he smirked. Well, he drawled. "Looks like the simple teacher did some snooping." "How could you?" I choked out, my voice breaking. "I'm your wife, the mother of your child." He stood up, towering over me. "And that's exactly the problem, Elena," he said coldly. "You're a wife and a mother, but Vanessa, she's exciting, sophisticated. She fulfills me in ways you never could." It felt like a slap across the face. "So what now? Are you leaving me for her?" I demanded. Jason laughed, a cruel, mocking sound. "Leave you? Why would I do that?" "No, Lena. I'm going to keep seeing Vanessa, and you'll just have to deal with it." "Like hell I will," I snapped, feeling a fire rise within me. "You will," he said calmly, "because without me, what do you have? A teacher's salary, a tiny apartment. Face it, Elena, you need me." I looked at him, the stranger wearing my husband's face, and in that moment, I made a decision that would change everything. "No, Jason," I said quietly. "I don't need you, not anymore." I grabbed Michael, who was still asleep, and walked toward the door. "Where do you think you're going?" Jason called after me. To my parents, I shot back. "Don't try to stop me." As I drove away, Michael shifting in his car seat, a mix of fear and exhilaration washed over me. I didn't know what the future held, but one thing was clear. I was done being Jason's simple little teacher. I arrived at my parents' humble home, tears flowing down my face. My mom opened the door, saw me and Michael, and without a word, ushered us inside. "Elena, sweetheart, what happened?" she asked, once we were settled, her voice full of concern as I sobbed. I told them everything, the emails, the confrontation, and Jason's hurtful words. My dad's expression darkened as I spoke. "I'll kill him," he muttered, rising from his seat. "No, Dad," I urged, grabbing his arm. "It's not worth it. I need to figure out what comes next." My mom pulled me into a tight hug. "You'll stay here, of course. We'll help with Michael, and we'll find you a strong lawyer." That night, as I lay in my childhood bed with Michael peacefully asleep beside me, I realized this was only the beginning of a long road ahead. But for the first time in years, I felt a sense of relief. I was free. The weeks that followed were a blur of meetings with attorneys and sleepless nights. Jason wasn't backing down. True to his nature, he hired the best divorce lawyer in the city and was determined to make things miserable for me. "He's going for full custody of Michael," my lawyer, a compassionate woman named Sarah, informed me one afternoon. "He's claiming you're an unfit mother." The words hit me like a punch to the stomach. "What? How can he say that?" Sarah sighed, adjusting her glasses. "He's claiming you're unstable, that you've neglected Michael. It's all baseless, of course, but we have to be prepared for a tough fight." And it certainly was a fight. Jason came at me with everything he could. He accused me of being mentally unstable, of cheating, of being a danger to Michael. Every lie felt like a dagger in my heart. The day of the custody hearing came, and I sat in a courtroom, my hands trembling as Jason's lawyer painted me as an awful mother. "Your Honor," he began, his voice dripping with false concern, "Mrs. Parker is clearly unfit to care for a child. She abandoned her home, taking the child with her without Mr. Parker's consent. She's emotionally unstable." I wanted to scream, to tell the judge it was all lies, but Sarah had prepared me well. I sat still, my face betraying nothing. When it was our turn, Sarah stood up confidently. "Your Honor," she said, "my client is a dedicated mother and a well-regarded teacher. Mr. Parker's accusations are baseless and malicious. We have character witnesses." The judge listened to both sides with a neutral expression. Finally, when he spoke, I held my breath. After reviewing the evidence, he said, "I find no reason to deny Mrs. Parker custody of Michael. Mr. Parker will have visitation rights and is required to pay alimony and child support." A sob of relief escaped me. Jason's face twisted in fury, but I didn't care. I had won. Michael was staying with me. As we left the courthouse, Jason grabbed my arm. "This isn't over, Elena," he hissed. "You'll regret this." I wrenched my arm away. "No, Jason, it's over. You lost. Deal with it." As I walked away, head held high, I felt stronger than I had in years. But I knew this wasn't the end. Jason wasn't going to stop, and I needed to be ready for whatever he'd try next. Months went by, and life slowly found a new normal. I immersed myself in teaching, cherished time with Michael, and began rebuilding my confidence. But Jason was far from finished. One Sunday, as I helped my mom prepare dinner, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to find Jason standing there, a striking blonde woman on his arm. "Elena," he said, his voice oozing sweetness, "I came to see Michael. This is Vanessa, my fiancée." I felt like I'd been hit in the chest. "Fiancée?" I managed to say. Vanessa gave me a smirk, her eyes scanning our modest home. "Yes, Jason and I are getting married." "Where's the little one? I'm dying to meet him." I wanted to slam the door, but I knew I had to remain civil for Michael's sake. "Come in," I said through clenched teeth. As they stepped inside, Vanessa wrinkled her nose. "My, what a quaint little house you have," she said, her voice dripping with disdain. My parents, who had come to see what was going on, bristled at her words. "Now listen here, young lady," my dad began, but Jason cut him off. Now, he said, condescendingly. "Let's all remain calm. We're adults here, right?" "Well, some of us are," he added, glaring at my parents. That was the final straw. "Get out," I said, my voice cold and threatening. "Excuse me?" Jason replied, clearly taken aback. "You heard me," I retorted, my anger rising. "Get out of my parents' house. You can see Michael another time, once you learn some respect." Vanessa laughed, a high, grating sound. "Oh, sweetie, don't you get it? Jason doesn't need your permission. He has rights." I stepped closer to her, my voice barely a whisper. "And I have the right to kick you out of this house, as you so kindly put it. Now leave, or I'll call the police." Jason's face darkened. "You'll regret this, Elena. I'll take Michael from you. Just wait and see." That night, after tucking Michael into bed, I sat with my parents in the living room, my hands buried in my hair. "What am I going to do?" I asked, my voice quivering. "He's going to try to take Michael. I just know it." My mom hugged me tightly. "We won't let that happen, sweetheart. We'll fight him every step of the way." My dad nodded, his expression resolute. "I've got an idea," he said. "Remember Alex, your old friend from school, the one who became a private detective?" I nodded, unsure of where this was going. While he continued, "Maybe it's time we did some digging of our own. Find out what skeletons Jason and his fiancée might be hiding." I hesitated. It felt wrong to lower myself to Jason's level, but when I thought about Michael and the threat to take him away, I knew I had to do whatever it took to protect him. "Okay," I said, taking a deep breath. "Let's do it. Let's hire Alex." The next day, I called Alex. We hadn't spoken in years, but he agreed to meet with me immediately. We met at a quiet cafe, away from prying eyes. "Elena," Alex said, embracing me warmly, "I'm sorry you're going through this." I filled him in on the details, the affair, the divorce, Jason's threats. Alex listened intently, his face serious. "I'll take the case," he said finally. "We'll figure out what your ex and his fiancée are up to." Over the next few weeks, Alex worked tirelessly. I focused on my life, teaching and caring for Michael, supporting my parents, but I couldn't help but check my phone constantly for updates. Finally, Alex called. "Elena, you need to come to my office right away." When I arrived, Alex's face was grim. "I found some things," he said, "and they're not good." He laid out a series of documents and photographs. "First, your ex's fiancée, Vanessa. She's not who she says she is. Her real name is Veronica Mills. She used to work as an escort." I gasped. "Are you sure?" Alex nodded. "Absolutely, but there's more. She's also been involved in corporate espionage. She's been leaking information from your in-laws' company to their competitors." My head spun. "Does Jason know?" "I don't think so," Alex answered. "But there's even more. Jason himself has been embezzling money from the company. He's been stealing for years." I sank back, overwhelmed. This was beyond anything I had imagined. What was I supposed to do with this knowledge? I wondered. Alex leaned in, his expression serious. The choice is yours, Elena. But if I were in your shoes, I'd use it to protect yourself and Michael. Leaving Alex's office, my mind was racing. I now have the power to bring down Jason and Veronica. But was that really what I wanted? The next morning, I received an unexpected call. It was Elena, my mother-in-law. Her voice was icy. We're hosting a small gathering for my birthday next weekend, Michael, and you should join us. I hung up, feeling a mix of excitement and unease. The information Alex had uncovered weighed heavily on me. At this gathering, I would have to decide whether to reveal it or keep it hidden. I glanced at a photo of Michael on my nightstand, his sweet smile comforting me. Don't worry, darling, I whispered. Mommy will make sure you're safe. With those words, I began to strategize. The party was soon, and I needed to be ready for anything. Jason and Veronica wouldn't know what was coming. When the day of the birthday party arrived, I dressed Michael in his finest outfit and chose a simple yet elegant dress for myself. As we drove to the luxurious home I once knew, my stomach churned with anxiety. The reception was far from warm. My mother-in-law eyed me coldly. Elena, she said, her voice frosty. You're here only because you're Michael's mother. Don't forget that. I nodded, swallowing my pride. I understand. Thank you for having us. The party was in full swing, the chatter of wealthy guests filling the air. I stood off to the side, feeling like an outsider, while Michael played with his cousins. Suddenly, the room went quiet. Jason entered with an attractive woman at his side. My heart dropped as I recognized Veronica. Everyone, Jason said, smiling broadly. Meet my fiancée, Veronica. We're getting married next month. The room erupted in applause, and my in-laws rushed to greet Veronica. Oh, sweetheart, my mother-in-law gushed. We're so happy. You're just the kind of woman Jason needs, so educated and refined. She shot a pointed look in my direction. It was clear. Unlike me, Veronica was deemed worthy of their son. Something inside me snapped. I stood up, clutching the folder Alex had given me. Actually, I announced, my voice firm, I have something to say. The room went silent. All eyes were on me. This woman, I continued, my tone resolute, is not who she claims to be. Her real name is Veronica Mills. She's using her cousin's identity. She has no education to speak of, and she used to work as an escort. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Veronica turned ashen, but I wasn't finished. Not only that, I said, but she's been leaking confidential company information to your competitors. My father-in-law turned purple. Is this true? And Jason, I added, turning to my ex-husband, has been embezzling from the company for years. Chaos erupted. Jason lunged at me but was restrained by other guests. You filthy liar, he yelled. My father-in-law's voice rang out over the turmoil. Enough. He turned to Veronica. Get out of my house. You're going to court. As Veronica fled, he spun on Jason. You're fired. How dare you hire this woman without vetting her, and steal from your own family? You're a disgrace. Amid the chaos, my in-laws approached me. Elena, my father-in-law said, his tone rough. We owe you an apology. You saved our company. We were wrong about you. I nodded, a mix of relief and exhaustion flooding me. Thank you. But if you'll excuse me, I need to take my son home. As Michael and I left, I could still hear the arguments behind us. But for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace. The truth was out, and we could finally move forward. In the weeks following the dramatic revelation, life moved swiftly. The consequences were swift and severe. Veronica was arrested for fraud and corporate espionage. Watching her led away in handcuffs felt surreal. Jason wasn't much better off. With his embezzlement exposed, he lost his job and fancy apartment. The last I heard, he had relocated to another state, utterly humiliated. He occasionally called Michael, but the conversations were awkward and short. To my surprise, my relationship with my in-laws underwent a complete shift. They were genuinely sorry for how they treated me, and as a token of gratitude for saving their business, they gifted me a small apartment. It's the least we can do, Elena, my father-in-law said, handing me the keys. We were wrong, and we're sorry. The apartment wasn't large or extravagant, but it was ours. Michael and I moved in, ready to start fresh. I returned to teaching, finding peace in the simplicity of my work. Our life settled into a calm routine, free from the drama that had haunted us for so long. But that wasn't the end. Remember Alex, my detective friend? After everything settled, we started talking more often. He had been my rock throughout the whole ordeal, offering unwavering support and helping us move. One day, while unpacking in my new apartment, Alex paused, holding a framed photo. "Elena," he said softly, "you deserve so much more than what Jason put you through." I looked up, meeting his warm brown eyes. Something shifted between us. From that moment, we began spending more time together, and our friendship grew into something deeper. Alex was everything Jason wasn't: caring, attentive, and he adored Michael. Our first date was simple, just a picnic in the park with our kids. Alex's son, Tommy, was a year younger than Michael. The boys immediately hit it off, running around the playground while Alex and I talked. "I can't remember the last time I laughed like this," I told him, watching the kids play. Alex smiled, squeezing my hand. "You deserve to laugh, Elena. You deserve happiness." As the weeks turned into months, Alex became a steady presence in our lives. He cheered louder than anyone at Michael's first soccer game. He helped Michael with his science project, showing incredible patience as they built a model solar system. One evening, as we sat on my small balcony after putting the boys to bed, Alex turned to me. "Elena," he said, his voice serious, "I want you to know I'm here for the long haul. You and Michael. You're not just a passing interest for me. I love both of you." Tears welled up in my eyes. "We love you too, Alex. You and Tommy have made our lives whole." As we sat there, hand in hand, watching the stars, I felt peace settle in my heart. For the first time in years, I was truly, deeply happy. Life wasn't perfect. We still had challenges ahead. But with Alex by my side, and our boys growing closer each day, I knew we could handle whatever came our way. As I drifted to sleep that night, a smile touched my lips. My story wasn't over, it was just beginning. A new, beautiful chapter. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.